HomeTech Podcast for Friday, June 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th. I don't know. It's going to be in there. You'll get this eventually, and then you'll listen to it. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
It's just like your stickers. I'm TJ Huddleston from Reynoldsburg, Ohio.
Stickers? You still haven't said those stickers? I'm Gavin Campbell from Pickering, Ontario.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about time management, home automation, home technology, projects, all sorts of stuff. We're in week, I don't know, month 3 of sticker processing. It's going to happen. We swear.
Well, and I just want everybody to know, again, I think we talked about this past like 5 episodes now, but it's not my fault now. It's all Seth's fault because I was ready. I have the labels ready to go, the envelopes, the stickers. I'm waiting on something from Seth, though, which we've talked about previously, but we haven't really mentioned it. So it's Seth's fault at this point.
I could just edit it out and no one will know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
TJ's crazy. He just won't send me my stickers.
Yeah, they're ready.
Come on, TJ, send the stickers. What's wrong with you?
Seth is, for some reason, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Seth likes to make more work for himself. He's always talking about these projects. He's like, I got these projects going on. I got all this stuff going on. But what he doesn't tell you is that he adds more projects onto himself and he makes it take longer. So this is a project for me. I was doing it. And then he's like, well, actually, I could go ahead and do something on this project as well.
He's trying to help.
But then he did the classic Seth thing and just doesn't do it.
You know, the most hurtful part of this whole thing is Seth's going to talk about a new project he started this week. And he still hasn't done what we asked him to do.
Hey, just because it goes on the board doesn't mean it's anywhere near being done or completed. So.
Have you been tested for ADHD, Seth? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Do you have
yes, very much so. Oh, man. Too good. Well, this show is coming out probably next week. And the reason it is because we won't have a show next week because I will be at Infocom in Las Vegas. So as you're listening to this, if you are in Las Vegas, stop on by the convention center, if that's a thing, if you're in Vegas. And yeah, there's info calls going on. I'll be in booth C something in the center hall, C9869. It's in the back. You'll find us back there. We'll be having a good time at the Blackwire booth. I think we have some like little stuffed puppies to give away again.
Ooh.
Yeah, snacks, of course. We'll have those there. But we'll be yucking it up, having a good time, and meeting with vendors, all that kind of stuff. This is a commercial thing. Like they do mostly like the big soundstage stuff, large venues, house of worship, and there's a lot of education stuff there. So a lot of the schools send their technology people to this for continuing education on like how to set up the AV system at the schools and that kind of thing. Like the maintenance, well, the people that are designing in the IT department or wherever. So that's become a big contingent there too. It's an interesting show because it's not like. Whereas Cedia, we went to that, it's mostly like, I would say like 80% integrators and just like other randoms, architects or things like that pop through. Infocom is not like, I don't think there's integrators, just a small part of it. It's not like an entire thing. Like installed sound is a completely different thing when it comes to commercial. So it'll be an interesting show to go to. This is our second time. Last year we just had a little table and a booth, but this time we're bringing the big boy. We're bringing the big booth, so should have some fun. I don't have to put it together this time, so I should be a lot more rested.
Is everything on the commercial audio side still just like talking about Dante? Is that like, it seems like every time I've gone to Infocom, it's basically somebody just announcing like integrations with Dante now?
I think that's coming to the home actually now. So, welcome.
Honestly, it should. Yeah.
Yeah. It does help with some things, but I think a lot of people don't know what Dante audio is and it doesn't help. They think it's something else that it's not. They like the network sound stuff. Yeah. It's network video. Basically virtually patching things in and out and replacing the old analog cables like BNC cables or patch cables has been a big thing there for years. And yeah, there's always interesting products associated with that, but they've got everything. They've got the big video walls, like the big Jumbotron things, right? They've got those like set up and playing in there. And of course they've got the fog machine thing that smells like farts. So they've got that. What's nice is like a lot of the companies there, like Cisco, like they'll have like teleconference things there. Like the Cisco will be there with a big giant booth, WebEx or whatever. Zoom has a big booth there. It's just it's a very large and different type of show than Cedia. What I'll have to go in, and what is nice about this show is they did this last year. I hope they do this at Vegas because it switches back and forth every other year. But in Orlando, when you walked in the morning, you'd smell these fresh cookies. And you're like, what the heck is that? Well, the vendors at the show, they will buy like fresh cookies, and you go scan your badge, and you get a fresh cookie and a cup of coffee. And I'm like, I will scan my badge a few times a day to get this. Like it's there all day, and you can just go find the free coffee. I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. So free trade show coffee with cookies.
I feel like you might as well get something when you spend like $100,000 on the internet. So
oh yeah,
free cookies and coffee. I mean, that's at least you get something out of it.
Yeah, that was our big mistake last year. Yeah, the internet was it wasn't that much, but it was like $3,000 or $4,000 for the bill. We have not made that mistake again, and we have our own like 5G internal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a big boy, so it like can do VPN over 5G. You can bridge in Starlink and all sorts of stuff. Peplink, it's a pretty cool product.
Yeah, Peplink's great.
Yep. We already talked about stickers. We're not going to bring that back up again, but we do. Oh, we are on YouTube. So if you like listening to podcasts on YouTube, we're there. Mastodon, we have a Mastodon server. It's our own. And if you like Gavin, he'll let you in. All you have to say is Gavin is great over at HomeTech.social when you sign up, and he'll let you right in. That's the password. Gavin is great.
Something like that.
Anyway, there's a bunch of HomeTech headlines, turns out, this week. What do you say we jump in?
Let's do it.
Big news, I guess. I don't know. This is like the longest meh story that has played out over the last 10 months of leaking every 5 days. Sonos has finally launched the Ace headphones, priced at $450, featuring noise canceling capabilities. It has the ability to transfer TV audio from the Sonos soundbar with the push of a button over to your headphones, so you can not disturb somebody in the room and, listen to the stuff on your headphones. It's out. About the time you're listening to the podcast, I think since we're recording on the 4th, this comes out tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
officially?
tomorrow.
Like you can go down to the best. So we won't have our reviews yet, but the reviews are in, and what is this? The Verge says they're here and they're damn impressive. Not the reviews that I've been seeing, but there you go, The Verge.
What? I think The Verge has somebody, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, the guy that gets all the leaks is giving the headphones reviews now. All right, that's all right. Weird. Anyway, we don't have them yet. We'll wait with bated breath for TJ's review, since he's going to go down tomorrow, I guess, and get some.
I'm going to buy and return them.
The same, like 30 minutes later.
Not keeping them. Yeah, everything I read about them is that they're good headphones for headphones, but that's kind of it, and they don't really like stand out. I mean, there's some things that some of the reviewers are calling out, like the physical buttons are nicer than some of the other headphones, and what I've heard.
How is the bar this low?
Yeah, I just like it's just one of those products. It's
what are you
just
going to talk about?
I don't know.
They come in multiple
They're headphones.
colors.
What do you want?
Yay.
Black and white. Woo.
Black and white. Yeah.
They're probably like the only, like one of the only few headphones that actually come in multiple colors. I don't know.
I mean, Beats come in a color. Done.
Oh well, never mind. Why are you going to buy these?
I don't know. It's $100 more, I think. So
yeah, the weird thing is that you basically have to have a $900 soundbar to use your $500 headphones, and it's just like,
which is the only feature that separates it from anything else. Like otherwise, it's just normal noise canceling headphones
just
that we've
Bluetooth
had.
headphones.
Yeah, who cares? $450.
It's just a weird thing. And if they would have released it with like compatibility with the Beam or the Ray, like immediately, I could see how that would be awesome. But I don't know, just you have to have $1,200 or almost $1,400 just to use this thing. That doesn't seem like a good investment.
Pass. I mean, what would be nice is if it was all right. So like, what's the point of this product? If the point was, as you expressed early on, like, I want these Wi-Fi headphones, I want to have a Sonos zone that is in my head and I can walk around my house, this would be a good thing. But for whatever reason, that's not the bar that they went for. They went for, let's make a product that can do what you can already kind of do with other stuff. Like I can do exactly what they're doing here with my Apple TV and my AirPods, or literally any one of the Apple headphones. Mm-hmm. And it's integrated right into the GUI, and I don't have to open the damn Sonos app to switch over to it or whatever. Like, yay. So I guess it's good if you don't have an Apple TV and you're running some other system. Like, you can do this for this much this price, but like I just the extra steps that could have been taken to make this have a wow factor. Like, oh yeah, that's really cool. I can just listen to Sonos radio all day in my headphones, streaming from my phone, or streaming over Wi-Fi to them or whatever they want to do with it. Like, I just seems like a big miss. Not the last we've heard about these things, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is like, I understand they probably didn't do Wi-Fi because of battery complaints, because they're touting like a 30-hour battery life. But like, if I'm using these headphones in my house, I don't need 30-hour battery life. Well, like, just make them last like 8 hours. I mean, maybe they couldn't make them last that long, but it just seems like one of those weird things. It's like, you just make it dual mode, like make it Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And if you need it to last longer, use Bluetooth. Bam, problem solved.
Well, and how hard would it be to have two thing like 30 hours on Bluetooth battery life, and then they and in the fine print like Apple does, like down the bottom, it's like 2.5 hours on Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, I can only watch a movie basically in Dolby Atmos on my headphones before I fall asleep, and then I'll just put them back on the charger thing and they'll charge up. Like, come on. Yeah,
and it's just, for me too, it's the fragmentation of the ecosystem as well, because now Sonos has this one product, literally one product, that does not work like the rest of their products. You have to use the app to like set it up or whatever, but like it's like a completely different thing within the ecosystem, and so it's fragmentation. It's like when Apple releases 5 different Apple Pencils. Do you need 5 different Apple Pencils? You don't. You know, nobody needs that. Why are you going to do that to everybody?
You gotta collect them all.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make them different colors then. Give me a red Apple Pencil.
No, white pencils, that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, see?
Pencils,
give me colors.
When have you ever seen any other color of a pencil? Come on. It's always been white.
Never. Not since my mechanical pencil days.
It sounds like TJ's so like depressed about these headphones. He set the bar so low for when he goes and gets them, but you were so excited for them for like years. You know,
yeah.
And then they just let you down. And I feel like it's something they could have done if they just opened up the Bluetooth in the Arc and you could use any Bluetooth headphones with it. You know, they could have done the same thing.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing unique about them. I mean, they're just like, they pair with your Arc and that's it. That's not, I don't know. That's not a unique product.
And then? Like, you just keep saying, and then? Yeah. No, there's no and then.
So maybe we should have a little game for this, and like, I'll take bets on how long these are going to last for.
I bet though, I mean, how much do these things possibly cost them to make?
Yeah.
Probably $17, and they're charging $450 for them? Like,
oh, they're more than $17.
I'm just saying, I mean, from all indications is that they have a nice fit finish. They are very comfortable to wear. They're super light compared to other things on the market, and they have a long battery life. Everybody's saying they're good headphones for 2024, but there's nothing special about them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if they sell a few out of them, they'll be doing all right, but I just don't know how they compete with the other stuff in the market. They can do what they can do and more without, and for less, honestly. Like, if we're talking about like the Sonys, there's Bose, they're about in the same price point. Yeah. Some of them are $100 less. Like, I think the Sonys are $100 less right now. The Apple ones are more, right? I think about $100 more. Beats are probably around the same price, and you can get them in different colors. So.
Well, and I think this is one of those things too, where like, if you're not a Sonos fan already, you're not going to go out and buy these. Like, if you see these on a shelf next to Bose and Sony and whoever else, you're going to look at these and be like, I don't know who Sonos is, so let me go ahead and go with Bose.
Yeah, these look like an established brand. I've been hearing reviews on these for the past 20 years.
Right.
For these, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, MKBHD did a review on these. He didn't He really seemed like he really wanted to find something impressive about them and couldn't find a way to say it. But his recommendation was for people who have a whole Sonos system and want to have the ability to basically turn off the TV sound so they can watch TV while their partner's sleeping or something like that. And that's the use case. That's it. $450 for that use case.
Get AirPods.
AirPods
and Apple TV. You should have an Apple TV already anyway.
Yep. Speaking of Sonos and kind of like Google Home, remember the Sonos Google Home stuff? Google Home lost the lawsuit, or Sonos won the lawsuit against Google, saying that they were infringing on a bunch of patents. And so like now Google is finally rolling out some alternative ways to do the things that got taken out of Google Home, particularly group volume control was one of them. All that's coming in, but it looks like Sonos won that one and Google lost, but we have our own winners and losers here. And I don't know, TJ, you may not have won the headphones that you wanted, but you did win the bet, because we're going to go way back to our little card that when did we do this? It was 2013, November 15th, 2013.
2013?
I'm sorry, 2023. Yeah, so I can't read.
I was like, well, we weren't doing the show in 2013. Gavin and I weren't.
Let's see. Yeah, November 2023. We made a little side bet that will Sonos release headphones in Q2 of 2024. And if I can count my months correctly, and I might not be able to do that given how badly I screw up dates, it looks like you won, TJ. TJ wins.
Woo! I get $1. I expect it in the mail.
I'll send it to you in the mail.
With a hand-signed letter,
I'll sign it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got the price right, too. We can't find the price card for some reason, but I'm pretty sure I guessed $449. So I was right. I just wasn't right about them being good. Sorry.
Yeah. We could have bet on features or something like that. But yeah, congratulations. You won that one there.
Woo!
There's another one. I guess we went past it. Will Seth get his lights up before Thanksgiving? I don't remember what happened with that one, but
I think it was your Govee lights or something, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I got stuff going for that. I don't know if
It's installed.
I had stuff going.
It was in and out, so there we go. I hate taking that stuff down. I want to leave it up all the time, but then I don't want it to look like that all year. So yeah, there you go. Speaking of enshittification of things, Spotify is increasing U.S. prices again. Spotify is going to increase prices for its premium, duo, and family plans in the U.S., with premium going from $10.99 to $11.99 per month. Duo will now be $16.99 per month, a $2 increase, and family will go from $19 per month up to $19 per month from $16. So some increases are coming into our pockets from Spotify. There we go.
Yeah, I currently pay the $20. Well, I guess now the $20 a month for the Spotify family, because it seems like the easiest option for me. We basically I have an account. Nicole has an account, and then we have a house account. And so it's like, well, I might as well just do that. And then I have a couple friends that send me $100 or whatever a year to have them on Spotify. But I just realized that I actually have YouTube Music for free because I pay for YouTube Premium, which is like $500 million a month now. And so I'm going to look at using YouTube Music instead of Spotify. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we pay for a Spotify account. I don't know what version it is. I probably should look it up, but it's not much, and it's not the family one because we just have one account that we kind of go back and forth between. But like, I don't really even use it because if I want to listen to something, I'll just go over to listen to the Apple Music thing, which I also pay for because it's built in. Well, you have to. It's built into like the Apple One subscription thing. So
why do you have the Spotify then?
Because some people don't like the Apple One.
Okay.
So it's the same thing to me. But, I will get Spotify. They do have a better search/find it interface than Apple Music. And Apple Music on your computer, like on the music app on any Mac OS computer, is just a hot piece of flaming garbage. I don't think anybody in that company has ever used. It's just horrible. I'll venture to say that it's worse than the new Sonos app update.
That's pretty bad. The Sonos app set a low bar for us, so.
I'm listening to all the people talk about it, and I've seen like numerous posts, and people are just like, oh, they hate it, how much they hate it. And like TJ and I are like, yeah, we like it. I think we're the only ones that said we liked it. Like,
I think the UI is nice, honestly. Like, that's what's crazy. It's like the redesign of it. I think it works a lot better. And they got rid of the stupid bar at the bottom. I always hated that bar.
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't need to have 5 different sections. Just let me control everything from one interface. And they did that.
Yeah,
but then they just screwed everything else up at the same time. So it's like, well,
the grouping, ungrouping, viewing of groups for your entire house is so much easier now. It's less confusing.
Yeah.
In fact, the only way I get confused on it now is that I'm thinking that it's the old app with the crappy bar at the bottom. I'm like, how do I get back to the crappy bar thing that doesn't work?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, this is the new app. I can click the little thing and it's right there.
I probably just need to like watch a video on like how it works too, because I've only just been trying to learn how to use it. I haven't watched any tutorials or anything. I'm sure somebody smarter has figured this all out already.
Somebody with a YouTube channel.
And
subscribers with bell dings. Yeah. All right. Well, Apple has announced that older Apple TV models, specifically the 2nd and 3rd generation, will no longer be supported by the Netflix app. So according to Netflix, the company will, quote, no longer be available on Apple TV, second and third generation, after July 31st, 2024. So that deadline's coming up. If you got any older devices out there in your house, in your parents' house, I think that's probably the case for some relatives of mine. They may not be able to watch Netflix, which would actually not be good, because that's the only reason I bought them the Apple TV years ago. When was this thing made? It was like 2010?
2010 and 2012.
Yeah.
So which ones are they canceling?
It's like 2010 and 2010 and 2012. So I think it's
second and third generation.
Yeah.
I think it's the fourth generation now that we're on. Well, they moved into like there's two generations of the 4K generation. So maybe it's fourth and fifth.
Yeah, they got confusing with the name.
Yeah. If you want to, and if you want to see a horrible interface for a website, go to apple.com now. Go look at it now, and try to buy anything. Try to purchase something. Try to find what you're looking for. You will not be able to do it. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this is what websites will look like this year. This is the hot new design trend, and it's called Bento Box. And everything looks like a little bento box if you're browsing through their store and to shop for a Mac or whatever, and everything's hidden off on the side. I looked for like 10 minutes to find the refurbished section. Good luck finding it. You can't find it. You may as well just Google search for it. It's not in the links.
What's that website you said?
It's a very popular website.
Apple.com.
APPLE.
Huh.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
It's not pulling up anything. No, supposedly this is the Apple TV 4K third generation that's out right now. So they've just gotten ridiculous with their naming.
Yeah. There's a new 4K version
of 4K.
Oh, it's the third generation of the 4K, but the 4K has three generations, which 4K was probably the fourth generation. So, way to confuse things. Either way.
So this is like the sixth generation, I think.
It's sad because the ones they're canceling the Netflix on are probably still more than capable of playing the Netflix. Like those people probably aren't doing, well, for sure not doing 4K on those, but they're happy with the output of the video quality. And it's probably just Netflix doesn't want to spend the time supporting the old ones.
Yeah, that's usually what happens with Netflix. I mean, they usually drop support for like smart TVs a lot quicker though. So like a Samsung smart TV might lose support after like 4 or 5 years.
It looks like, and this could be it. Which one is there are two video codecs that are not supported by the first, second, and third generation of Apple TVs, and that's HVC 265 and VP9, which is that new Google one that everybody's trying to move to. I don't remember or know which Netflix is using, but I bet you that has more than everything to do with it. Is if it's not able to support the new codec they're going to push out, they need to shut down some servers and save some money on this old stuff and bandwidth.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
And for a 10-year-old product, 8 to 10-year-old product, it's probably time to update.
But that could mean like Apple TV is probably not the only one. There's going to be a lot of old streamers out there that probably are more than capable, but they don't support for whatever reason.
I think last week or the week before, we had a story about an older Panasonic TV or something like that had an app inside of it that was going to get kicked off. So maybe this has something to do with it. Like it's one of these codecs that they're using, either VP9 or 265, that's not supported on the hardware that existed back then. And that makes sense. I mean, it's better than launching the Netflix app that you can't play video on. So,
well, you know what Tim Cook would say about this? He'd say, buy your mom an Apple TV.
Yeah, exactly. Tim Cook and the Apple shareholders, thank you for canceling Netflix. If you're looking at these, because that's what we were confused about. If you're looking at these things, these are the ones that were like the little flat boxes. They weren't tall. They didn't have like, they were just little flat boxes.
And with the worst remotes that have ever graced Apple TV.
Yeah. The remotes were awful.
The worst remotes.
Those were the ones that were like they were similar to the Airport. Was it not Airport? Apple had the Airport Extreme or they're similar. They were the same size, same design.
Same size. One was white and the Apple TVs were black.
Yes,
yeah. Yep. Same form factor ish, about the same size. And old product now. I think the Apple HD is what they moved into after that. And that one is the quote fourth generation now. That one was started in 2015. And then the 4K version started 2017, 2021, and 2022. So you've got the third generation now of the 4K in 2022. Yeah, Apple and their naming conventions have never been good. Go look at their website, though. You'll never be able to find an Apple TV on there. I challenge you. try and buy one. You can't do it. It's impossible. Ugh. I'm not happy with this bento box thing. Like, this is what websites will look like. And you have to scroll over to the right if you want to find anything. It's garbage. All right. Speaking of Apple, we've got an interesting story here about a new app, or an app that released it. What's the name of the app? Because this thing is a new app that is controller for HomeKit. It's a third-party app for controlling Apple HomeKit stuff. They have come out with this clever little thing for interactively controlling your house using a floor plan. And the way they get the floor plan is you can do a 3D scan right there in the app of your whole house. Kind of transforms it into a map that you can use, a floor plan interface, if you will. And it's part of the new version 7.0. So kind of cool. The Apple phones all have this ability kind of built into them. And it's really neat to see it. Yeah, the LiDAR. Yeah. So you can scan, do 3D, like high definition 3D scans of your house and where your furniture is, and it can map it all out and make a nice little floor plan. This is a pretty ingenious thing for a third-party developer to do.
It's actually really cool. Like I've seen products do this before where they did a floor map for you, but this one actually is very nice how it works. How it recognizes the furniture and stuff, the openings in your room. But not just that. Once you've scanned the room, the ability to now start putting your devices on that floor plan, and then you can use that floor plan to control your home. And that was the whole interface to design that is really nice. I think this is impressive. I mean, if you're the type of person that has, you put iPads for tablets on the walls or something like this may be something you really want to look at.
Honestly, I thought about using this with Home Assistant just so I didn't have to use the user interface of Home Assistant. Because this is just so much better. And like designing an interface for Home Assistant's awful. So, I mean, if this just does it, I don't know if I want to scan my whole house and upload it somewhere.
Yeah, the only thing about, like, when I look at floor plans like this, they kind of break down when you start to have too much information on them or too many devices in your rooms. Then they kind of start to become a pain. But, I mean, if you got a simple layout, then, yeah, which most people will have.
Yeah, I feel like this would be good as like a general interface for a lot of people. Like just throw up your lights and your fans and your all your basic stuff that you access all the time with like a more advanced screen somewhere else. So that way you could just easily go and toggle on the light for the living room or whatever. So that's giving me a look right now. I don't like that look.
You know what this is good for? You know, if you're planning to commit a crime, just quickly go and scan your neighbor's house, and then you can plan out the exit routes.
Stuff. That's true. I'm just mapping out my automations. I mean,
I'm just mapping out this bank.
Control this light over here.
Yeah.
Is that the safe?
Yeah.
Let me scan that real fast. I am not a fan at all of any use case that involves a floor plan, except maybe one or two, and that would be for like in the service industry for a bar back to control bar TVs.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I think if you take your interface and you put it on a plan like this, I think you've failed at the interface design. Now, this is a really cool way to do it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that people in general, techie people do, and people who can read maps do, but I don't think most people in general can read a floor plan to save their life or know which way. Like there's a picture in this thing and the iPad's rotated sideways, and there's this like, if you handed this to somebody and the iPad was rotated sideways and their house is suddenly sideways from what they know it to be, like it takes 10 minutes to like for some people to like figure out what spatially is that the bedroom. I have no idea. They have to look around. I don't think floor plans are a great way at all. And like Gavin said, if you start putting a lot of devices on it, you can't. You can't. You have to. Then you have to put a label on there that says lights.
Yes.
And you click the lights, and guess what you get? You get a list of lights that you can control on and off. And then you're back to using a list interface, which is where you should be in the first place. All you did was make a fancy graphic and scan your house and upload it to some guy's server.
You know, when it comes to interfaces, you know, over the years, you know, surveying, well, it's only a sample size of one person, but it's a very vocal person, right? I find that my wife she's she's afraid to use the app. She's afraid to click on things in the app. The interface, she never liked any app, right? But what she really got used to is using the voice, so using the Amazon voice and telling it to turn on and turn off and stuff. She's really comfortable with using that. And it's also because she uses that a lot for other things, not just home control, but for, like what's the traffic like today or what's the weather like today, so she interacts with that a lot. And then as a side, she uses it for the smart home, being able to ask it the pool temperature and stuff. She's comfortable with all that stuff.
Does she ever have to open up a map and walk around your house? Like, does she get lost? Like, okay, so like, it's like no one looks at a floor plan of their damn house. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a thing. Like for most people, and I've been in enough construction projects to know that most people I talk to when we're going through the construction process have no idea what they're looking at on the floor plans. There's no way that they can represent a two-dimensional view of a plan, of a plan, whether it's the like what they call it, the floor plan, like straight down look down, or like looking at the wall. What is that? The sectional view of a cabinet. Forget it. Like,
yeah,
it is so hard of a skill that needs to be learned, or you inherently just understand it. I have been in those meetings and sitting across the people on the table so many times, and they just don't understand what they're looking at. And that's why you see these companies investing in giant buildings with projectors hanging from the ceilings, where they can like map out an entire floor plan of the actual house on the floor and move actual furniture around the room that they project onto the floor, so people can understand what they're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this is the way to do it.
When I came to Cedia, I remember looking at the floor plan to try and find you, and I just couldn't figure it out. It was like, which way is which? All I remember is you said you were in a corner. And I think by the time we found you, it was the second corner.
I was crying in the corner.
Yeah. you were under a counter, crying. But we went to one corner, you weren't there. And the second corner, luckily, we found you. So, yeah.
I feel like those are valid things about floor plan layouts, but I also think that all those instances are things that you're not familiar with all the time.
Yeah.
And so like when you're building a house, you've never been there. So like you're not going to know the floor plan. And if you're visiting like an expo center, you've never been there either. So you're not going to know the floor plan. But if you do it with your house where you're there every day, I feel like it's a little more obvious. But I'm also one of those people that cannot read plans to save my life. So I am totally guilty.
But you bring up a good point too. What if you have a guest over? Are they going to feel comfortable utilizing this if they have to?
I don't need my guests to use this though. I don't need my guests to touch the automation system at all.
I can see where TJ sleeps. Like I don't want to know that. Like,
I'll show you.
Here's the room. Here's the list of things that you can control. Good night. Like that's like you don't need anything else.
What if they did like a floor plan with like layers, and so you could do you could have like different layers for like
now
your,
you're confusing
your sensor information.
She doesn't even want to open the app. now you're adding layers to it.
You added the most complicated thing of like Photoshop into this. Like let's add layers on.
Yeah.
Like a temperature sensor layer, a water layer.
People
Dragon
design their
layer.
interfaces based on what they like, but you also take into consideration other people in the house and what they are comfortable with too. So when you're designing this,
well, the problem right now is we have nerds designing interfaces, and nerds are not good at designing interfaces.
Yeah.
What if we put masks on those layers?
I need a privacy layer on my layer, so that way Seth can't see my bedroom.
And what if you go in one of these rooms you scanned and move the furniture around? Like now it's going to throw off the map altogether and confuse people even more. Yeah.
Oh, genius business idea. Just a camera that goes in each room of your house and then uploads the floor plan no matter when you change it.
Exactly. A new picture every day.
An AI camera.
There you go.
It's got to have AI.
And obviously it'll take a picture 30 times a day. So that way it can know the exact changes that are happening.
Yep.
We're not getting any money for that if it doesn't have AI. So it has to have
That's
AI.
Right. AI.
Even though it doesn't.
Then you'll be able to download things in NFTs. Wait, never mind. That'll lose us money.
We were rich for like 5 seconds. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up everything here on the HomeTech Headlines. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over in our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/485. All right. We do have something in the mailbag tonight. So this is from a listener giving some feedback. Luke, he says, I have a Bose outdoor speakers on my back patio and JBL in-wall speakers in my garage. So controlling this with an older AV receiver using A and B speaker options. Got it. And a Logitech Squeeze Box. Oh, the days. The receiver died and the Squeeze Box, of course, didn't die, right? But it doesn't support YouTube Music. Can you suggest a good device or combination of devices that would allow me to control music and volume without always going back to the receiver that is in the garage? Thanks for the suggestion. Enjoy listening to the show.
Home Assistant. Oh, sorry. Oh, man. Wrong part of the show. You know, the funny part about this one is I really am interested in this too, because with the backyard update, I was planning to put speakers in, and I'm going to defer this question to TJ. Just because I'm very
Gavin, how much money do you want to spend?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, let's spend some money, man.
Yeah.
No. Let's help Luke spend money first, and then we'll come back to me.
Well, Luke's is easy, in my opinion. So you basically have, in my opinion, you have two options right now. You have Sonos, which I'm not a huge fan of right now, so I might steer you away from that. And the other option I would consider right now, I don't have any personal experience with them, but they get really good reviews, is this WIM amp, WIM, I don't know, WIM? WIIM, yeah. And they have an amplifier you can buy on Amazon. It's $300. It's got Chromecast, it's got AirPlay built into it, Spotify Connect, Alexa Cast, Tidal Connect, all that stuff. It's got HDMI ARC, RCAs. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff. Basically, a Sonos amp. It only has one Ethernet port, though, instead of two that the Sonos amp has. I'm not sure if that's necessary. But it looks like a really good product, and it's only $300. So it's more than half off compared to the Sonos amp. And so if I was going into like just hardwired speakers at the moment, I would consider that, because you're going to get the AirPlay and the Chromecast, which is going to support basically everything at that point. And so that's what I would do. The other option is Sonos. Sonos has been around forever. They're not going to go away no matter how much I'm ragging on it right now. I think they're a good option if you're going to need other wireless speakers at some point. The nice thing about AirPlay and Chromecast is you can kind of use other AirPlay and Chromecast speakers and you don't have a problem with it. But if you want to eventually get a sound bar, or you want to get a portable speaker, or these other things, Sonos is kind of your best option at the moment. And so you kind of got to determine if it's worth the extra price for you.
Yeah, I would automatically lean just Sonos is going to be expensive, right? There's a less expensive option with the Sonos or the Winamp, I guess. Winamp? I have no idea. It's not Winamp. We figured that out earlier. You could do this, and you have one of those little like AB speaker selector things that you could like turn on to have music out in the garage. Like you can AB select back and forth, the old analog thing, right? Like a Niles box or something. So you could do that, and then have the Sonos or Winamp plugged into it, or you can just do two Sonos and Winamp and just have two zones that are controlled together. I would probably, well, it depends on what you want to do. Future expansion, you have all sorts of options on Sonos. We don't know if this WIM company is going to be in business, or Weem, or but it is half the price, and you can do two of them for the same price as you can get one Sonos amp. So I don't know. It is a hard choice. It just depends on how much you use it, how much you like using it. And then how much you want to expand listening to music out in the rest of your house. If you do have those options, man, the Sonos ecosystem is hard to back out of once you get in, because it does work really well. I mean, the way those devices set up. Now, this one, is it streamed from your phone?
So they got AirPlay and Chromecast, so that would work the exact same, but I'm pretty sure they have their own app as well that you would stream from.
So I guess it's kind of like a difference as well, that like when you play Spotify from Sonos, you're actually on the Spotify service. Like it's not, if your phone rings, your music doesn't stop during a party or something, you know, like there's a huge difference between like Bluetoothing over some music to play out of an amplifier and using Sonos, because Sonos will just keep going and you can walk over and press a little button on to turn it off or whatever. I don't know. This may have that built into it, or similar casting features built into it as well. I'm not familiar with it, but for $300, it's not a bad deal.
Seth, look in the back channel and tell me what their app looks like.
It looks like the old Sonos amp. There you go. Wow.
Honestly, I'm a big fan of doing the separate zones. I think if you want to save money, you do, a speaker selector box and all that stuff. But for simplicity's sake, just do multiple amps, even if it costs a little bit more. You only have two zones, so I would just do two separate, unless they're like right next to each other. If they're right next to each other, then do the same zone. But to give you an idea on Sonos land, I'm doing a house right now with 3 amplifiers, and it's $2,100. And we're sharing several zones. And so with Sonos, it would have been like $6,000. But we're doing like speaker select, we're doing volume control knobs in a couple rooms and all that good stuff. So it just depends if you want that added complexity. Some people are fine with that, and you already have a receiver, so maybe you are fine with that. And if you are, save the money and just get 1 amp.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the multiple zones. So he'll need multiple amps, Sonos amps to handle 2 zones. That's fine. Question: does speaker wire length affect anything, like quality wise?
Technically,
yeah,
it does. The gauge of the wire, I mean, you can't fight physics. Yeah, gauge and distance are the 2 problems.
Yeah.
Not the specific quality or the things that like weird salves and stuff that the weird audio people or the little trays that audiophiles. Yeah, they have little things that they run their speaker wires over so they don't touch the floor because the harmonic vibrations will make it off or something. No, that doesn't exist. Like electrons will flow over the wire, but there is this thing called Ohm's law, which is a law, and it will not, it will cause strain on the amplifier or not the best sound to come out of the speaker if it's not getting the right power to it. So yeah, over distance, you do have a problem. Like you can't use a Cat 5 for speaker wire.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why a lot of times too, if you're running into those distances, a lot of places will typically do a 70-volt system.
Yeah.
And they don't have the limitations of the wire distance, and you can run it off a much smaller wire as well.
You do have the limitations of the wire over distance. It's just a lot further because you get power.
Yeah, that's true.
You get the power.
There's always going to be a distance. But it doesn't sound as good as like a true stereo system.
Not with the transformer thing in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to plan for that for mine. And yeah, one thing I like about the Sonos, I don't know if Wim does this, but like when Sonos, you can AirPlay to it, but it's like, it's always on. You know what I mean? And then when you stop AirPlaying to it, it's not like the speaker's turned up and still there. You know, you don't hear a buzzing sound as if you had like a streaming box hooked up to some external speakers or something. So that's why I kind of like the Sonos setup. You get that. Honestly, I know you're not liking Sonos. It's because of their headphones. I know, but it's still like,
and their app. Come on,
it's still probably a really good system.
Oh no, the ecosystem's great. Like I mean, even the products they have on, they're just expensive. I mean, everybody says, oh, they're expensive. They are. You pay a premium. The ecosystem is great, minus the headphones, because I don't find that part of the ecosystem.
that's not an ecosystem.
Yeah, it's not really an ecosystem. It's a random accessory product that they made. Like using the app to combine. Wow, Wim really did just blatantly
it's
copy.
It's literally the Sonos app.
I'm on their website, which is way better than Apple.com right now. And the grouping and everything that they have, the volume sliders, it is a copy pasta of the good old. Wow. I mean, amazing. All right.
Maybe we should try and get them in on the show.
If they made their logo too capitalized, then they would have the old trick that the Sonos where you can turn it upside down.
Oh, yeah.
But they missed out on that.
Man.
So they'll have to connect those eyes and it will look the same either way. I would say I would lean heavily, like if an integrator is, I would lean heavily on Sonos and then give you the option of doing the A/B selector thing. If depending on your budget, if you wanted to have like complete control over everything, super nice tight integration with the app on your phone, Sonos 100%, 2 amps like TJ said. But if you need to back off and not spend $1,200 on amplifiers or $1,300 on amplifiers,
$1,400. I think they're $699.
Are they? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it sucks that when you go to the Sonos hardwired stuff, because they're $699 at Best Buy. So, they are very expensive when you start doing multiple zones. And that's what, like, whenever I'm talking to somebody about audio for their house, I always tell people, like, first thing, it's like, it gets more expensive the more zones you want.
Yeah.
If you want to group everything together, it's super affordable. You can buy 1 amp to do 4 rooms of audio and stuff, but you're stuck with volume controls or speaker selectors or something like that. If you want the ease of use, you have to do multiple amps.
Yep. There's a Pile 4-zone speaker selector amp on Amazon right now for $36.99, and I'm sure it works good enough to turn on speakers A for the garage and speakers B for outside. Protect the amp, protect the speakers. Good to go. And I've done that before. One of my friends' father-in-law bought a house, and he was like, hey, he's got all these speakers and volume controls around and everything, all these wires coming out. What do we do? And I was like, here, you need this. And him the Amazon link for that. Got him a Sonos amp.
Mm-hmm.
He went and put it in. And I mean, he says they listen to it every day. It's the best thing that they have, the whole house. Like it's like they love it. And it's just because they just want to put music on in the room. They go in, turn the volume up, and there's music there. There you go.
Yeah, I think audio is one of those things. I'm not I'm not an audiophile by any means, but I like listening to things, and especially like as you're walking around the house and you're doing chores or whatever, it's kind of nice just to have something going on all the time. And so that's why I really like Sonos. I have the TV going, or I have music going, or whatever it is, and it's just nice to have that all over.
Yep, Gavin, you're gonna need what 2, 3, 4 Sonos amps for the house. What are you getting?
Yeah.
How many zones you doing outside?
Only one. It'll just be the backyard.
Yeah, what Gavin needs is a Sonance Sona array.
What? Okay, back to spending money for Luke. Like, is he gonna have to upgrade his speakers at all? You know, like I guess you have to take that into consideration, though.
No, you shouldn't have to upgrade any speakers as long as they still work.
Okay.
Yeah, the JBL in walls are pretty standard. I've seen those for years. They don't particularly go bad. They're not like I would put them in like a good mid-range, mid-tier speaker. Like they're okay.
Okay.
And the Bose ones are super popular outdoors. I sold tons of those at Circuit City, and they work great. They're just fine outside. They're great for that.
Forever too.
I mean, they've lasted. Yeah, those things are. They have paper cones in them, so you can actually take the thing apart and swap out the paper cones if they blow. I know this because one of the companies I worked for, Muzak back in the day, had this contract with a big city park up in Orlando. And one day they took me out there and they like, here's your lift and you get to drive around and replace all the speakers. And I'm like, oh, where are the speakers? You just gave me this random box full of drivers. No. I had to take them off the pole and then replace the driver inside. It was all the Bose outdoor speakers, and they were all blown because they're on literally on a bridge that crosses a lake. I think it was Lake Mary Park up there in Sanford. I don't know. It's north of Orlando. So anyway, they last forever. There's not much to them and they sound great. So there you go. Done. I would keep those speakers.
Yeah.
Get a Sonos amp, power them up, and I think you'll really like it. See, we don't recommend Sonos, and then we do recommend Sonos.
Yeah,
it's a love-hate relationship. I know.
It's like recommending Spectrum or Comcast. That's the only option.
Oh yeah, there you go, Gavin. You need to get. TJ has put the Sonance Mag 6.1.
The whole lineup is called a Sauna array. Last I knew. But this is pretty cool. We'll probably put it in the show notes too. This is actually a kit from Best Buy. This is only if you're interested in like landscape audio or pool speaker or something like that. Probably not for our listener here. He already has speakers. But this is cool. It's basically like 6 satellite speakers and a subwoofer that goes in the ground. And what's nice about these is they kind of just blend into like your shrubs and bushes and trees and whatever else you got going on. But they kind of surround you with audio. So the problem with outdoor audio is that everybody puts 2 speakers on their house.
Yeah.
And they put it right above their door. They put it next to their seating area. And the music sounds great in that one single area. And then as soon as you walk off the deck or the patio or you go to the pool, you can't hear anything.
Why are you making me feel bad now? That was my plan.
People get these rock speakers.
Or I mean, here's the other part of that is that you to hear anything when you go over into the hot tub, like you really have to crank it up, and then your neighbors are like, "Oh, that guy's in his hot tub again. I hate him."
Gavin's skinny dipping in his hot tub again,
splashing and having a good time. The mojito.
So what happens to these speakers in wintertime?
They just stay outside. What do you mean?
They can handle the really cold weather?
Yeah, they're landscape speakers. They're supposed to be outside. Well, I don't know about Canadian winters. We don't really have real winters here, so you'd have to look that up on Canadian
polar bears.
Sonance, I guess.
Well, the good thing, these are only available on American Best Buy, so I can't buy them. So good, save me some money.
They are expensive. They're super expensive, but they are really nice, especially if you're putting them around like a pool or something, because they're directional.
Yes.
And so you just point them to where you want to hear the audio, and like as soon as you stand behind them, you can barely hear them. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're pretty good. There's a bunch of, they're slowly starting to, I think started with James loudspeakers or something had these, and then Sonance made a copy, and then Snap AV made a copy, and then like these have been everywhere now.
Yeah,
I think there's Forza is out there now, Forza. You can probably get those in in Canada. But they're just kind of like OSD, I think, has some.
They're starting to build lights into these things now too.
Yeah, which is kind of a gimmick, but yeah, whatever. It's, I guess you could
money.
They're horrible lights.
Yeah, well.
I mean, what TJ was saying is like, you have to crank this thing up. You don't have to crank these up. These can stay pretty low. Like, it just makes a nice little noise floor and it makes nice even audio all the way across your yard. And that's why, like, when you go to a resort, like if you go to a big resort in Orlando and you're there seeing Mickey Mouse, you walk around, they're playing music all the time in those resorts around the pool and everything. You just hear it. It's coming from the bushes, from the speakers that they have. They just have a bunch of them. They have 40, 50 speakers out there around the pool. And it's just not that loud. Like, you don't hear it when you get back into the room and that kind of thing. So
ultimate luxury for landscape audio, I think.
Yeah. You don't have to do that look. Like, I mean, you can use like, even Bose makes like an outdoor, like the green outdoor thing everybody sees everywhere. There's a couple of other companies that make that as well. But a little mushroom thing that hides away in the bush.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of these systems. They make a 70 volt and a stereo, whatever they call that one. We used to do a lot of the 70 volt down in Florida. Tons of those.
I worked on many, many, many resorts on iDrive. The landscape company would come in and cut a 70 volt wire, and you have to go track down where it was, dig up, while everybody's there on vacation, dig up the landscape and find the wire, patch it back together.
Well, you guys gave me a lot of ideas. I'm going to be doing some research.
I'll bring you a Christmas gift.
We'll help you spend some money. Just let us know.
That's right.
Not just speaker wire. No, you'll just be a roll of speaker wire.
I mean, you got to pay for it, but I'll bring it to you. Gavin linked to some of these Sonos rock speakers. I've never been a fan of rock speakers. I think they always look like garbage.
They sound like garbage too.
But they're Sonos.
But Gavin just linked me to these ones. They said that $1,300. I would not pay $1,300 for rock speakers.
Oh my gosh, no.
Well, that's Canadian dollars though. It's probably 13.
I know, but my cost on them I can't say live on the air. But it's not far off of that. So
yeah, I would not recommend rock speakers in any way, shape, or form. I've installed many of them here in Florida.
They always suck.
Guess what we don't have in Florida? Rocks.
You guys need a palm tree one.
Yeah. I mean, if they had a palm tree one, it would look normal. But the landscape lights really do help out with the aesthetic looks. But the rock speakers, they never sound good. They never work good.
Oh, I got a design for you. We'll get an iguana speaker. You put it in the tree and it will really blend.
You got to hang in the tree, though.
You can put it in the tree. It will just hang out there and no one will think anything of it. Your iguana singing.
It's like Billy Bass.
It turns its head and sings to you.
What would the Florida version of that be called?
It's probably
Bubba Iguana.
Iggy Iguana. Izzy Iguana.
I'm sure Alibaba has one I can find.
More than likely. I feel like we've done this exact thing with iguana.
Don't buy a rock speaker, but buy an iguana speaker.
Yeah.
I could highly recommend the iguana speaker over the rock speaker, which it's like one you can buy and waste your money on, and the second one probably doesn't exist. But if we can find it, we'll put a link in the show notes. But yeah, rock speakers out. Don't use those. I've never come across a nice one. There's one company that I did come across that made maybe what you would consider a rock speaker. It was called Madison Acoustics way back in the day. I don't even know if the company's still in business, but they would make like wooden planters and put nice speakers in them.
Oh yeah.
And these things were like expensive. Like I would say each one of them were close to $2,500, if not $3,500 a piece, and just for the speakers. And if you wanted more planters, you would buy more of those. And they looked like they were beautiful planters, and they lasted for years. But still, it's too much. Anyway, don't buy rock speakers. I would go either the little green mushroom thing you can plug into the ground, or in all 70 volt. I would not recommend doing anything other than 70 volt outside, and all you can do the landscaping as well. I think. TJ, do you know if the one you linked here, but do you know if the subs, they put transformers on the subs for base, or do they still just run those on 8 ohms?
I think it's just 8 ohms as well.
Okay.
Because I mean, I haven't installed one in like a year now, but it was all just chained together. There wasn't anything extra special about it. So
in this system, they probably have, like, it spiders off the subwoofer and they have one of those balance transformers inside of it. But
yeah.
On the bigger systems, you need to have 70 volts for the little speakers, but then for the sub, it usually needs more power, and usually you have to use a real 8 ohm amp. So I was wondering about that.
It's magic
of electricity. And we got a pick of the week here tonight. This is kind of cool. We've seen, you see all these specs for your TVs and whatnot, where it's like, oh, it's got 120 hertz or 480 hertz, and like, what the heck does that mean? Or a refresh rate of 480. That's good. This is a little GIF, I guess, and it has these little moving dots, and you can actually, I don't know if this is right, but like you can actually see the difference between these refresh rates that you may have on your monitor, your computer monitor, or your TV at home. And I think it helps me understand kind of more of what I'm looking at. Like I can see when I drag a big window across a monitor and it's not a 60 hertz refresh rate. I can see that. I don't know if I've ever seen 120 or 480, but I mean, it's showing you here in this image that it's a little more smooth as the bigger number it goes up to. So it's a good visual. I like it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty informative. You don't really run across this stuff very often, especially not side to side. So it's kind of nice to be able to see this, and gives just some nice little information about it in the following toots as well.
Bunch of toots here.
Yeah.
Check it out. At least it was a little. I like these things where people kind of mock this stuff up and kind of show what the differences are. So yeah. All right. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great idea for show, pictures of rock speakers that don't work, send them to us. The email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form.
You can also send Gavin all your rock speakers. We'll just give you Gavin's address and you just mail your rock speakers to
Hey,
him.
I'm good with that. Like any speaker donation, I'm good with that. Help me finish off my backyard because I'm poor right now.
It does look really nice.
And project updates. Well, we got a couple project updates, but I guess we have a Home Assistant updates. Gavin, this is a beta. I'm not doing this. What is this?
Yeah, it's the beta now, but by the time you release the show, the production will be
We gotta talk about it now.
You need 2 more updates past
exactly. You got to do multiple updates by the time this show gets released. But they released their 2024.6 update. Pretty interesting stuff. They've been moving forward with integration with LLMs. I know you're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. They should have just called this year the year of the AI, because they're making big moves, I think, with the AI in the background.
No, they're good without talking about AI. I am so happy that a company.
Okay, the year of the LLM. At least use a different word. But it seems like they're doing a lot of work with this in the background, and they're slowly releasing pieces. And I see where they're going with this, and I can't wait to see where we're at by the end of the year. But this is interesting to see what they're doing. Other things, they've been making a lot of user interface updates, which shows that they've shifted focus to improving their user interface, which is nice. The only downside to this is every time I redesign my dashboard, they add something new and I have to redesign my dashboards again. Right? So now I got to look at, like the sections, because they added an option to conditionally show sections based on, states of entities and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And they also added dashboard backgrounds, which is awesome. Matter 1.3, we talked about this last week, but they added that. Plus they added support for the devices in the UI, for more devices in the UI that, you can't buy, but they're ahead of the pack. So they're ready when they're out there. So a lot of background stuff, a really good, update. One that I found interesting though in the notes was, they added a working integration for the Things network. I know we talked about that. So if you're into like long range sensors and stuff like that use the Things network, the LoRa network, they added integration with that, so we can start playing around with some of that stuff.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Put a sensor down the street or something like that, and
put on your neighbor's car,
whatever, and it will work through the Things network. Wow, we're just like,
let me know when Greg's home.
Greg, your water's running, but you're not home.
Yeah,
right now.
I know. Like, but yeah,
Good thing I have that key for your house.
Somebody flushed the toilet over there. I don't know what's going on.
That's weird.
My Home Assistant just told me.
But that's one interesting thing I'm probably going to look into when it finally gets released, or, that'll be tomorrow. So yeah, Home Assistant 2024.6.
All right. Well, we do have a couple of interesting things here. TJ, you posted this, I think, on our Slack channel, and you posted on the HomeTech.social picture of you rigging up some. These are, what do we call them? Deck lights, I guess, on your fence to light up your fence, and you have the results.
Yeah.
from this project. So what were you trying to do, and what'd you find out?
Yeah, so we got this really nice privacy fence installed earlier this year, a couple months ago, whenever it was. And it's been nice, but my backyard literally has no light. It has the one exterior light that's like on my back door, and that's kind of it. And when we had the original chain link fence, I had the same problem that I just couldn't see back there. And the problem with our areas, we have, wild animals like a lot of other people that do when they live in a place. And one night I walked out and there was a skunk in my yard. And luckily I just saw it scurry away in the darkness. And I was like, oh man, I should probably have some lights back here so I can see what's going on. And so that got me started on some solar lights. I was like, well, I'm not going to run any lights right now because we're going to do the fence and everything like that.
Oh yeah, you had the ring lights up for a bit.
Yeah,
right?
So I have the ring solar lights, and they've worked really good. I control them with Home Assistant, but they have this weird timeout thing that even MQTT can't bypass. And so you can only turn them on for a certain amount of time if you manually trigger them.
Yeah.
But if you set them up through the Ring app, you can set them up for whatever schedule. And so they're great. And I think they're $40 or $50 each. And so I think they're well worth it, especially if you just need solar powered lights. But once I got the fence done, I was like, man, I really need something nicer back here. And so I started exploring hardwired lights, which, I do landscape lighting for my company. And so I found these deck lights, and deck lights are basically just little hockey puck lights that you put on your deck, like your stairs or around the edges or whatever. And I finally got some, and I installed them at the top part of the post for the fence. Just every other post. I think I need 18 altogether. So I was like, well, I'll stick one every other post, and that'll be more than sufficient to kind of light up the perimeter. And that should give me enough light. And so I got that kind of rigged up. I had wires dragged all across the yard. I had to pause the robot lawnmower for a week because I just didn't want it to run over the wires and cause bigger problems. So I just got that set up again so I can cut my grass because I removed the wires tonight. But now I'm in the process of staining the fence. So once I get the fence stained, I'll actually work on installing the wires permanently and everything. So it looks really nice. The picture makes it look brighter than it actually is because that's just what the iPhone does now, unless you manually change that. But it lit it up enough to where I could see the perimeter without any problems. And the lights aren't expensive. I mean, they're $40 each. With the bulb. So, I mean, that's not terrible.
That looks nice.
That looks awesome, actually.
How many did you say you needed?
So if I do every other post and then one on each side of the gate, it's 18 fixtures. So I got them on sale. I bought them from my distributor, Amp Lighting. I got them on sale, but it was still $700 in lights. So,
but once you have it all lit up, it's going to look really nice.
Yeah.
When you have proper outside lighting, it makes your backyard so much nicer at night.
Oh, yeah. A little more inviting. And, we can, we don't have people over too often, but when we have people over twice a year, they'll be able to see the backyard. So just look at it from inside, be like, this is our backyard.
My neighbor's done this for me. On the back of their house, they installed one of these, I don't know, blowtorch lights that it's got to be at like 7,000 Kelvin temperature on the back patio, and they just leave it on all day, all night. And I've never really said anything because it lights up enough of the backyard. I don't have to ever have a security light. But it does shine into the window. If you turn off the lights in the house at night and you're walking through, you're like, oh, there's a lot of light in my house because of that light over there. It's very, very bright. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We kind of grumbled about it a little bit, but then, it's kind of nice to look out there and at least know that somebody has power, I guess. I don't know. Otherwise it's just a dark backyard, you can't really see anything.
Yeah. And somebody, I was telling somebody I was going to do the hardwire lights and all that good stuff. They're like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't do that. I would just call the utility company and they'll install a light in your backyard and they'll just charge you an extra set price per month. And I was like, yeah, but what happens if I want to turn the light off?
Right. It'll look awful too. It's that.
Yeah, and just a giant industrial light in my backyard lighting up just my backyard, I'm good on that. This is just nice ambient light. I don't need to see everything in the backyard, just ambience. But this actually, this whole project got me started on smart bulbs again. I've been kind of on a smart bulb craze. I've been replacing a lot of my lights in the house with Philips Hue. I've really liked that. I like the adaptive lighting through Home Assistant. It's kind of nice to have your lights change throughout the day to kind of match what's outside. So I was like, man, smart lights for landscape probably aren't really a thing like outside of like
they have
buying a
little
full
ones.
fixture, right? I mean, you can go buy Philips Hue outdoor, yeah, but you can go out and buy like Philips Hue outdoor lights, and they're all the integrated LEDs and stuff. But like, could you buy like a G4 bulb, which is what the deck lights take, or the MR16s and stuff like that? And some people make IR controlled ones or RF controlled ones. There's kind of no shortage of those. But if I want like a Wi-Fi bulb, I basically found one option for the G4 bulb, and it's from Super Bright LEDs, which I've bought things from in the past. They have, and as far as I can't tell if anybody else sells this, but it looks like a Tuya based G4 bulb. And they're like $17 each. They do RGBW. They look kind of cool. I ordered one. I don't think I'm going to do these because it's like, what are they? They're $17 each, and I would need 18 of them. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for something you don't know the quality on.
$306 for just color changing bulbs. So I was like, well, I'll order one just to see what they're like. I haven't got it yet. I'm interested just to play with it, but I heard the actual light is not that bright. So I don't really expect me to do any of these, but obviously I have a smart home. I need to figure out these light bulbs.
I've seen the you wouldn't think there's enough space in these things because they're so small, but I've seen I think we have some MR16s that we sell that have the Wiz thing built into them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like Wi-Fi controlled LEDs. So yeah, they can get these Wi-Fi radios and smarts and stuff pretty small on these things.
Yeah, just the G4. I've only been able to find one. And I looked up on AliExpress because I was like, well, obviously superbrightleds.com is just getting everything from China.
Mm-hmm.
But I found one and it was like $40 on AliExpress. And I was like, oof.
Who spends $40 on AliExpress?
Yeah.
You just get the coupon and it's 1 cent.
So yeah, I got that going on. That's pretty nice. And once I finish staining the fence, I've started the stain process, and it is a tough one. I bought like a little sprayer that attaches to a current drill. And so that just like, that's been going. I got like a part of the fence stained. It's hard not to make it look like crap though. So I'm trying to take my time with it.
Yeah, take your time.
Staining's hard.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm not supposed to talk about this like technically yet. But by the time Seth actually launches the show, it'll be out already. So it's fine.
I'm gonna launch this tomorrow. I'm gonna spend tonight, edit 2 shows and get them out.
Yeah, you better not post this one immediately. That's why I was like nervous about it, because I was like, dude, my luck. Seth takes forever to do everything, but my luck is I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to get in trouble. So technically, this is on embargo until June 10th. So if it's out before then, I blame Seth, and he's going to get us sued or something. But Raolink sent me this new camera. It's kind of cool. It's the Argus 4 Pro. And this is I think they just consider it a panorama camera, but it's a solar powered battery camera, and its installation was super sweet. You just install 2 screws for the solar panel and 2 screws for the camera, and there you go. That's it. It's just there. It's got a super wide view. I basically have it on my back fence line. I'm using it to watch birds, funny enough. And this really wide camera.
It flew from there to there. I can see it the whole thing.
Yeah, I could see the whole thing, the full flight path. But I have it like in the back fence line. You can actually, you might be able to see it in my night shot. Oh, you can. You can see it in my night shot picture there with my landscape lights. But it's basically in the middle of the fence line, and I can see the entire backyard. I can see completely to like one side of the fence line. I think if I moved it a little bit more, I'd be able to see the other side. But this camera has been really nice. I usually don't like Wi-Fi and battery or solar powered cameras. But this thing has stayed at 100% battery life. I've not charged it or anything like manually since I installed it. It's got motion alerts and people alerts and animal alerts. So that's cool. You can do time lapses, which I think is really cool. I think you can set that up for like construction sites and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like a good just time lapse camera for a construction site. Really good quality though. It seems nice. It looks like a little robot though.
Yeah, it's got a funny look to it.
Yeah, like it's just like Wall-E or something. You know what I mean? But it's honestly been a really nice camera. I think I would recommend this to people that just want like a basic camera. The night vision is really good. I don't know if it's Starlight sensor, but it's got like a colored night vision image to it, and so that's really cool. The only thing I don't like is I don't think you can record 24/7 or continuously with the camera. It's got a micro SD card slot, but I think that's only for like the push notifications and stuff like that. So if it could record continuously, like I would be all in with it.
So you just need a hardwired version, though. They have hardwired versions these days.
Yeah, which they do. Yeah.
Wait.
And it's such a silly limitation. Most people don't need continuous recording on their cameras, right? But it's funny. I have this 256 micro SD card, 256 gigabyte micro SD card in this camera, and it's using up like 4 gigabytes. So, and I've had it plugged in for like a month now. It does not use the storage in it for the continuous recording, so it doesn't really need it.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool product. I've seen these types of cameras come out. What's nice about this, like where you have it, like you have one camera, covers the entire backyard, pretty much everything you want to see. I'm sure if you wanted to see more of your house, you'd put it on the house, right? And look out towards the backyard.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a unique view that you can get and see like if something's happening at your house that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So it's a pretty cool product.
Yeah, and I think if I might end up moving it to like one of the corners and just moving the bird feeder over there as well, and that way I would literally get the whole backyard.
Oh, it's smaller than I thought it was. Like I've seen pictures of this.
Yeah, and it's not obnoxious. Like some of these cameras, especially like the 360 cameras, they look like wall-mounted robots, and this one kind of does, but like a miniature version of that. It's not like big and obnoxious and unsightly. So
I like the monkey ball thing of wire that's underneath it.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do with this?
Just tie in a monkey ball. There we go.
Just tie it there. It's good. But yeah, thanks for sending that camera rail link. We'll have to see if we can have them on the show to talk about some cameras and other stuff in the future. So
I hear all about Railink quite a bit. They seem to be doing a lot.
Yeah, they're good budget cameras. And this one kind of is really nice. I really like it. I think a lot of people would like this. It's just a very good image, and setup was super easy. That's always my gripe with a lot of these smart home products is that like setup kind of takes forever sometimes. And this was just super simple. Just scan something and I was in very quickly. Oh, and I didn't even make an account for it. That's what I liked about it too. I just like downloaded an app and I scanned a QR code and it just worked. I didn't have to like make an account on Railink's website. And that's almost impossible.
Oh, they should get like extra bonus points for that. Yeah. I mean, is there AI? Do they have AI?
Well, I mean, it tells when it's a human or animal, so, I
guess it does have AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's local AI, if anything.
I think Railink's pretty much won 2024 now. I don't think anybody, no account sign up, no email harvesting. Like, good job.
Yeah, they beat Sonos. They released something that works.
They have an app that DJ likes.
You can change the Wi-Fi network.
I can. Yeah. I log right in and change it.
Oh, too good. Well, that's awesome. It's always been a problem, like on projects where you're like specking out cameras, and you're like putting cameras in. Like, if I just had a camera that looked here and there, it would cover the air. Like, I wouldn't have to have two cameras, one pointing this way, one pointing that way. And there's still a dead spot sometimes. It's like all these awful cameras that you have to set up just to get like perimeter coverage on a house. And it's like, this would be great. Like something like this, pop it out there. You see 180 degrees and anything that goes on in that area is covered. That's great.
I've been waiting on their dual lens camera to come to Canada. Their bigger one, not this one.
The PoE one?
They have a PoE. They have a floodlight one, Wi-Fi, and you can basically see your whole street if you mount it on the front of your house.
Yeah.
That one looks really cool.
I was expecting this. I think this is the one you're talking about. It's more like hard angles on it for their the one that TJ is reviewing that we can't talk about. It looks adorable compared to that one. That one looks like
this one looks like it's gonna shoot me.
That's good. It'll scare away people.
If my mom walked up to my house and she saw this, she'd probably walk away.
And that's an idea, if somebody can make a camera that, if somebody walks up to your house, it shines a little laser right in the middle of their chest. Little red
have
laser.
those. They have those.
Oh,
yeah. They have a laser tracker thing that they put on it, and it will shine the laser light what it's looking for. We have one of these cameras at the office that watches people go to the dumpster or something. I don't know. We put it out there and it follows them. And it's the amount of people because I think it's got the light thing that turns on it as well. I haven't looked at it, but the amount of people in the middle of the night that wave to the camera, like they're just like, "Hey, I was digging in your dumpster. I'm sorry." It's humorous because we get
regulars.
We get certain messages. Yeah, regulars come in. I don't know. It's funny. Just like they see the thing moving, it catches their attention, they wave to it. It's just natural, I guess.
This Railing duo floodlight would actually work good in my driveway because I need to add a floodlight to my driveway anyway, and I have 2 cameras there already.
Yeah.
So I could just eliminate one of the cameras and bam, I have a light now.
Well, that's the one I'm waiting to come to Canada, is a dual floodlight Wi-Fi version. And once I get, I'm on the notifying list, once I get my hands on one, I'll throw it on my driveway.
Nice. Very nice products. Yeah, this would be great. I could probably swap out the old Ring floodlight that I have with one of these, because it doesn't actually see very much where it's mounted under my eave. And yeah, this would cover more.
Well, this will always help the homeowners too, because whenever I do a video camera consultation with a homeowner or business owner too, but mainly homeowners, they always think the camera can see more than it can actually see.
Yeah.
Like they always they have this giant front yard, and they're like, well, I want to put the camera over here and I want to be able to see the entire front yard. I'm like, well, that's not how cameras work. But if you have a 360 camera or panorama camera, that definitely would work like that. You just miss out on the finer details. And that's kind of something I've noticed about this one. The image quality is really good, but when you start to zoom in, the quality is not that good. But I mean, that's not the end of the world, right? It's still seeing everything that's happening and everything, but I can't like zoom in and see somebody's face depending on how far it is.
I used to go to the job site with a camera that had a decent like wide angle lens too. And, just a telephoto, like this was just point and shoot camera, but I would go and stand on a ladder, hold up the camera where it would be 16 feet in the air where their soffit was, because it's big giant homes, and take a picture from there of what they would actually see, roughly matched, what they would see. And, if the camera's that far away and you take a picture of you want to see the whole front yard, you're not going to see your front door and who's walking up to it. Like you're there, that's going to be pixels. Like you're going to see a blur of that guy with the white hat on walking up to the front door and taking your package and walking away, but
not really useful.
That's it. Yeah. Not really useful as far as getting like identification information and that kind of thing. So that was always part of the education things. Like going up, take pictures of it, show them what it looked like. Cause they were familiar with the construction project at that point. They could, oh, that's the picture that I'll see. Okay. That looks good. We should move it over a little bit. No problem. Anyway, that's it. That's all you got.
That's all I got right now. We'll talk about other things next show.
Cool.
What you got?
I've got a stupid purchase that I made.
Oh man, another one.
Yeah. So see how long this one stays on the shelf. I had someone's, well, I hate Unify basically, right? So I had somebody's Unify Dream Machine Pro die, and they called me up and they're like, hey, how can I fix this? I'm like, you can't.
Buy a new one.
They're like, can you fix it? I'm like, that house is 4 hours away, and no. So I was calling around people, kind of in the area, and they're like, hey, why don't you just restore one from backup and like give it to him? So I was like, all right. So I'll go to Unify's website, and I dropped this Unify Dream Machine Pro into my shopping cart, and then I see this little banner at the top. It's like, hey, you should try out our NVR. Yeah, I like your NVR stuff, but I'm looking for something else. I'm talking to the website at this point. I'm like, I don't want that. And it's like at the bottom, it's like, you can buy this, what is it, $299 UNVR thing, and we'll give you a camera. And I'm like, come on, I'm looking at Blue Iris, right, Gavin? I'm looking at like the AI stuff, and I'm like, no. I'm like, wait a minute, it's a G4 bullet camera for free? That's a $200 camera. This is a $300 NVR. And so now I'm the proud owner of a Unify G4 bullet camera.
Oh my god!
And the NVR, yay! Rock Mount NVR.
You got roped in, didn't you? You got roped in.
How many Unify cameras do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5, something like that. And I have the doorbell, I guess, so that counts as 1 or 2.
All right. Well, I mean, you're approaching NVR territory.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about it because I have the Cloud Key Gen 2 piece of garbage that heats up like a a coffee warmer or coffee thing. Like you could put your cup on it and it would keep it warm all day. That thing's horrible, and it likes to crash and do all sorts of random things. That can go away right? And I can, I think I don't even have to have a cloud key for this. I think it can run in a standalone mode. If it doesn't, I will just run a software version of the Unify Cloud Key and manage it that way. And dump this piece of garbage Cloud Key Gen 2 thing and never look back, and just hopefully they never require me to use a Unify Dream Machine for their for anything. The NVR thing, I really do like the software and everything on there. So I got NVR now. Yay. The biggest problem is like I had two hard drives that I pulled out of a Synology not too long ago because I needed to. I just put like 2 extra 4 terabyte drives, and these were 2 terabyte drives, and I couldn't have those in the same array. So I was like, well, I'll just upgrade them. So I know that there's 2 terabyte hard drives, 2 terabyte hard drives laying around somewhere. And if I had those, I could, pop this in and get it up and going. But since I can't find them, and I know I've seen them like that's pretty recently when I was cleaning up the garage, but I don't know what I did with them because, naturally when you clean stuff, you put it away where you'll never find it again, not in the pile that it's been in for, 2 years. So yeah, whenever I find them, I will pop them in, and I'll have, a couple terabytes of storage for this thing to sit here and record my cameras.
I think there's a Docker version of the cloud key too that you can run on your Unraid server if you need. So it'll make things easy for you.
That I've already thought about it. Like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, all right, you're enticing me with a little free camera. So it's a $200 camera, right? And it's $300. So that means I only spent $100 on this, right?
Sure.
It's the logical math that was going through my head at the time. It's like, it's only $100. Like, it's a free camera, right? No, I don't think so. But yeah, they suckered me in. So Unify fooled me, and I will I'm gonna run it. I like their Unify, the NVR thing though. It does work well, and the app is nice. I can kind of pop into it, and we have bunnies all over our yard right now for some reason.
Like bunnies.
Probably because that's what bunnies do. Yeah, they multiply. So I can just watch the bunnies scoot around at night.
Yeah, Unify software is definitely the best camera software. Take that from somebody that uses Blue Iris on a daily basis.
They're so far away. No, they're not even close. The Unify, the Blue Iris app. I mean, you just launch it and you're like, okay, connect to the thing, connect to your server, refresh it. Oh, there, it finally connected. And then it's like, man, why are there number buttons on this? Why does it do this? Like, I don't get it. It's just
you think the Sonos app is bad. Just imagine if Sonos didn't actually have any UI designers. That's what the Blue Iris app looks like.
And it looks just like their Windows program.
It works the same.
Yeah, it works the same. Oh man. All right. That's all I got. I'm a sucker. I bought this Unify thing, and I'm trying to wrap up everything for work for this last week. So I was hoping I would be able to have a project update. It was more than me just being suckered into this purchase from Unify, but it seemed like a good deal. So I bought it.
Well, at one point we'll get these stickers out, but probably not for another month. So if you haven't sent your request in for stickers yet, you can definitely do that. You can send us an email at feedback@HomeTech.fm and just give me all the information about your house. Tell me, what color it is and the address. And
I'm going to edit all this out. No one's ever going to know. It's just going to be like, TJ took forever to get the stickers.
It's all Seth's fault.
All right, Gavin, what's going on over there?
Oh man, I don't know how to follow you guys up. I gave my Unraid server a hard drive upgrade. I noticed this week in Canada here, the Western Digital Reds they've been on sale at Best Buy and stuff. So for the Canadian listeners, check out Best Buy. Well, depending on when this show gets released, but the drives seem to have come down in price and they've been on some good sales. So I grabbed a couple, just one to add to the server and one as a backup. So something to look out for. If you follow me on Mastodon, my Prusa MK4 is alive. It's up. It's running. I assembled the whole thing. I put it in the enclosure. The MMU3 units all functional. I've been printing a whole bunch of stuff like pool noodle sword handles. for the kids when they come over. They just
Ooh.
stick them in the pool noodle and they can whack away at each other, keep them busy for hours, and it will drive the parents mad when they start turning on all the parents. So that's the main reason why I printed those, right? So, you got to print some good stuff, right? So that has been amazing. The MK4, I'm loving it. I don't have anything bad to say about it yet. Well, the only thing I have bad to say about it is not as, how can I say, contained as something as like the Bamboo Labs. The Bamboo Labs has everything in a unit, and all the filament, you sit it on top and it's nicely laid out. Where with the Prusa, you kind of have to figure it all out yourself and plan it out. And it's like wide open, but that's the nice part about it. You can customize it. So you can put things on top, you can print out other parts. So that's the next thing I'm doing. Backyard update. It's finally done. All the irrigation's set up and everything. The coolest thing was turning on the pool refill.
I bet.
That's so cool.
Running like one zone into the ratio. All I do is I quick run that zone for 30 minutes and it tops up the pool, or whatever I want. That was, it was all worth it just for that, so I'm happy about that. Wife's happy. Everybody's happy. Now I got to buy furniture and set up speakers.
Where did you end up putting how did you end up putting, where did you put the pipe? Was it just kind of like run
into the skimmer, right?
Into the skimmer?
So my skimmer has a little space in it. And I think my neighbor pointed out to me that it's actually because it's separated. But I use that to my advantage anyway. So there's a little gap in the skimmer above the water line, way above the water line. So I was like, you know what? And I have a little chipmunk that lives back there. And he actually chewed a piece of the skimmer out, right? To get to the water, in the winter and stuff. So, it worked to my advantage too, because he chewed a hole nice enough that the pipe fit right through. So I'm like, all right, great. Like everything just worked out, so now
he has plumbing.
Nature and humans working together. It's always beautiful.
Yeah. So we ran a pipe around the pool and then straight into the skimmer. So when you turn it on, it just goes straight into the skimmer. You don't see any pipe and nothing. So it's beautiful. Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. And that chipmunk, it's very interesting because we felt so bad because he had a home back there for the longest time in the lawn. And then we dug up his whole home. But every time they filled in the home, he would redig the hole. Right. And then there were 2 chipmunks. So we were like, what the hell? So we felt so bad because we were like, when we put the brick over it, we were hoping they left the hole. Well, now they have new holes around the yard. I think they dug new trenches under all the bricks, which I'll probably find out.
You'll find out in a couple of years.
Yeah. Probably find out in a couple of years, but it's got some new homes and it sits there and just sits on the wall and looks at me and, it's upset. But it's like,
yeah, he had a waterfront view and you took it away.
I know. But he's got, how I have the tree line in the back. He's got a new home in that tree line. And that we found the exit to that is underneath my fence outside. He's got he's got it all thought out. Like, I'm afraid
he's going to trip you.
I know, like that little chipmunk. And the sad part is I've been trying to get rid of this thing for like years, but my neighbor keeps feeding it, right? So we would be sitting there and
he's got the life.
Yes.
He has a pool. He's got an escape hatch, and he's got your neighbor. He's got food. Like, so
we would sit there in our family room, and I just see all afternoon this chipmunk running back and forth from the neighbor's house. So I messaged the neighbor. I go, "You put food out, didn't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get him used to. We're doing a photo shoot tomorrow, so I'm just prepping him." I'm like, well, you fattening him up? So then what she does is the day before she'll put food out and the chipmunks she preps the chipmunk and then she puts out like a little scene. So she had a haunted house at Halloween, right? And she had, she put a little food out there and then the chipmunk would come and she would take pictures of it in the scene. Another time she had, like a laundry. It was doing laundry, hanging clothes on a line, but she put a little bit of peanut butter on the top of it, and it looked like it was up hanging the clothes on the line. And she did a whole photo shoot with this. And this is why I can't get rid of this damn thing, because it's being fed next door. It's got a home in my backyard. Like I don't know what to do, right? So yeah, I'll never get. I didn't think they lived that long, but this one's been there for like ever.
Oh, because he's got no. What's he's going to die for? There's no, like, he's not in the elements starving in winter. No,
Yeah.
he's getting. All he has to do is hang some laundry up, and he gets peanut butter. Like,
Yeah, so that's my chipmunk story. I'll never get rid of that. We had to put the downspouts, we had to stick stuff in it because it would go in the downspouts and store stuff and clog them up and stuff like that. Like, this thing causes problems for us. It's not a nice chipmunk. If it sat there and just lived a nice life and didn't create problems for me, I'd feed it, but then, this thing, when it chews things into your skimmer and ruins things in your pool, I hope it doesn't chew through my lines to get the water or anything. But yeah, that's my life.
he's going to be digging up your pavers, and all the pavers you just put in are going to like just randomly start falling. And you'll be like, that chipmunk, he did all this.
I thought we buried him under there, and we were going to put a little plaque, here lies Maple, and put the years he was there, right? But then as we were planning that out, it ran by us. So
Man, you're already plotting his death. That's messed up.
And they filled the hole probably 4 times, and every time they came the next time, it dug another hole. They put a brick over the hole, and it dug another hole. It had a new trench, and it's just,
He's got a great home. Why would he want to move? I mean, it's a great home. He's get fed and everything. It's awesome.
Other than that, you made me spend some money last week, and I got a pair of those finger light gloves.
Yes, the finger gloves.
I had to get those finger light gloves. They just made sense for so many reasons, but I got the USB chargeable ones. So they don't take batteries. You just plug it into USB and charge them. And I'm like, I haven't used them yet, but I have things I got to do that I know I'm going to need a little finger light on. So, it just it's one of those things that just makes sense. When you have something, you're going to be like, yes, 3 years later, I'm going to be like, yes, I finally bought these to do a job like this. And then as soon as I pull them out, I'll be like, I got to wait 2 hours for them to charge.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's I'm going to keep them in my rack over there. Like, as soon as I go in there and I open it up to like as soon as I go put this thing in, I'll have this NVR to put in.
They're perfect for that. Yeah,
it shouldn't be too difficult. Perfect for that. Yeah. I really need to rearrange some of my server stuff because, well,
you know what you really need to do is get TJ what he's been asking for. Like, before you start up this other project. Yes.
Go sign that thing. One of these. Yeah, I'll get on it.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'll get on it.
It's only Tuesday, and I still have an entire show to edit from not this week, but last week. So, yeah, there we go.
Don't worry, you have a whole week for projects.
Whole week. Yeah, coming up, I'll be nothing but free. So I got plenty of air time that I'll be in an airplane. I'll be able to edit these shows. So no worries. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up everything this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who helps support the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and everyone else can gather in there and chat about all sorts of fun stuff. Recently, did you guys see Owen's birthday party?
Oh yeah, man! Like, I didn't get my invite, but that's
pretty awesome.
We'll send them a sticker.
Yeah, well, it's like
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Unbelievable. That looks really cool.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah. I guess it's like, if you're the guy with the awesome theater, like, you can do that,
right?
So yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, you weren't in the Hub. So get in the Hub, find out about it. But yeah, there you
donate
go.
Us money.
Donate,
you'll be able to see.
Just $1, $1 a month. You get an instant invite too. I think it still should email you. I don't know. It's a robot. It does its thing.
Yeah, it's still working. Yep.
It's AI.
Okay, good. I made that so long ago. It's gonna break one of these days. Unmaintained. I don't even know what I did, but we'll find out. If you want to help out but can't support the show financially, we would just appreciate a 5-star review in iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap it up here at HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.
Or maybe not the next week. Maybe the week after. I don't know. But till next time.
Yeah, some point.
Still take care.